Are you looking at home prices in Durango, Colorado, and really wishing you could find an area with much better home prices and an area where maybe you can just stretch your dollar a lot further as well? Well, in this video, I'm going to be showing you this subdivision that I'm standing in right now with this lake right behind me that everyone in this neighborhood has access to. This gorgeous private lake where you can kayak, paddleboard, fish, and just enjoy this lake. This lake backs up to National Forest as well. They've got access to some amazing trails. They've got some great views from a lot of these homes. They're also tucked in the forest here. I just had a client move here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell you why they chose this neighborhood from their perspective. We're gonna tell you why some of my friends live here. I'm actually gonna list out a bunch of pros and cons that he gave me. Some reasons he likes it here, some reasons he doesn't like it here from his perspective. So you're hearing from a homeowner and what I personally love about this subdivision as well. There's a lot of playgrounds here. We'll show you those. We'll show you what it's like to live here, and we won't sugarcoat it. We'll show you a lot of the pros as well as the cons, of course, of living here as well. And we're jumping into it right now. Really excited to show you guys Forrest Lakes. Let's do it. I know we'll start just by kind of telling you some pros and cons of living here, and then we'll dive into a little bit more specifics about utilities, about sizes of homes, square footage, things like that, lot sizes as well. So I'll start by telling you, I had a client recently move here, and I'll talk to you about some of the reasons they like this area. First of all, it feels very much like Colorado. So I have a lot of clients that are looking to get into the price points that you're gonna see in here, in those $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 price ranges. And there are some much nicer homes in here as well that go for $800,000, $900,000 as well. Keep that in mind. But I really have some clients looking to get in these price points, and a lot of areas in those lower price points throughout Bayfield, throughout this area, and Durango as well, just don't quite feel like Colorado. Those areas are a lot flatter, feels a little bit more like farmland, feels like areas that you might just find in Texas or Oklahoma or the middle of New Mexico. So here you have so many different amenities and things to do, and it just feels much more like Colorado. As you can see behind me, you've got the forest all around you, and a lot of these homes are tucked in the trees, tucked in the forest here. And then a lot of these homes still have some kind of view. As you can see behind me, there's these ridges. As I turn around and as we show you the footage, there's some great views throughout, and there's some great hikes right out your back door where you can be looking at a bunch of different mountain peaks. You can be in the National Forest going for a 20-mile trail run or a mountain bike ride from the neighborhood as well, kind of like I mentioned earlier. But sticking on the topic of just the topography here, it does climb in elevation quite a bit. So if we talk a little bit more about weather, if you go to the Durango weather guy's website, when he talks about the snowfall expected for this area, he actually breaks it up into two sections, upper and lower Forest Lakes, because the elevation climbs quite significantly as you get into the upper portion of Forest Lakes. So be very aware of that you do get a lot more snow as you climb up in elevation. Now, as I talk about climbing in elevation here, there are some areas in this subdivision where there are some tight turns. It is all dirt roads in here, and there are some areas where you just are really going to want you're going to want a four-wheel drive vehicle regardless of living in here. But there are some areas where there are long, steep driveways, and you're gonna wanna either be plowing that yourself, have an ATV, have a truck with a plow in the end. You're really gonna wanna be prepared to handle a home and a lot like that. And there are a good handful of lots like that in here. I wouldn't say more than 20, 30% of lots like that, but just be aware that a lot of lots like that exist, as the topography in here is very mountainous. Now, keep in mind, there are areas in here where I've had clients just say no just because of the road itself up to the home, not the driveway, but the road itself. And then there's other areas where they love it and they're happy and the road is not very steep up to the home. Now, a lot of people ask me, are there a lot of families that live here in Forest Lakes? As a lot of clients calling me about Forest Lakes do have families, do have kids. Just in my observation, I do see a lot of families living here. Several of my friends have kids themselves that are kind of in the elementary school age or younger that live in this neighborhood. I've also had clients move in here that do not have kids, so I think there's just a big range across the board. A lot of people just love being outdoors, love of enjoying the outdoors because of the access to the trails, access to town, and just all the amenities that you have around here. Now, some parts of the neighborhood have gas, some parts of the neighborhood are on propane, and then it is central water, central sewer. By the way, guys, reach out to me if you're curious about a specific home in here, or just if you're curious about moving or thinking about moving to this area at all. I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango, Bayfield, Pagosa, and the surrounding areas, so I'd love to help you with any of your real estate needs. And let's dive back into the video. The next thing I want to cover is this is a metro district, so there's no HOA. They do have covenants, however, and it is a metro district, so there are going to be metro district fees. What they're covering are roads, water, sewer, common ground such as the lake, the entrance, and the mailbox area. So there are going to be fees associated with that. If you are, for example, pre-qualified for, say, $500,000, that number might go down slightly because of these metro district fees. You do have to factor that into what you qualify for. Just had a client looking at homes the other day, and that's something that the lender kind of broke the news to him on, that you've got to kind of factor those numbers a little bit differently here in Forrest Lakes specifically. Now, that is going to pertain to some other areas outside of this area as well, but mainly to Forrest Lakes. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, you're at higher elevation. Just wanted to mention exactly what we're at. We're really ranging. So 7,600 is kind of the middle portion of this subdivision, and it climbs up from about 73 and climbs from there. All right, let's talk distance to things. So we're gonna start by talking about the distance to areas in Durango, and we're gonna put up on the screen the distance to downtown Durango, the distance to the airport, distance to the high school, and the distance to City Market. As you're seeing, all these distances should be right about under 35 minutes, some of those closer to 30. And then we will also put up on the screen the distance to Bayfield's grocery store as well. Where their grocery store is located, they've also got a Subway right next to them. They've got a nice little pizza / ice cream spot next to them as well. A few other little restaurants real close by. And then maybe about 2 to 3 minutes away, they've got Eagle Park and a park across from Eagle Park, which is right off of the river, right off the Pine River. They've got a little area to skateboard, little skate park type area. Then they've got rodeo grounds. They've also got some baseball fields. They've got a big field just to play different games in general, just kind of a big open grassy field. They have a lot to do right there. And that field, that park, is kind of connected to Bayfield's little downtown. We've got a few great little restaurants looking right over that baseball field, so that you can go to a game and then walk over to Taco Boy, for example, get some good Mexican food right downtown. So you are really centrally located where we're at here in Forrest Lakes, or if you end up buying right downtown or in town Durango, like Mesa Meadows or some of those other subdivisions that are right in town Durango, or right in town Bayfield rather. Now, home sizes in Forrest Lakes really range from 732 square feet all the way up to 5,470 square feet. So like I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, you can find homes in here in the under $400,000 range, all the way up past $1 million, up at the highest home sold in Forrest Lakes to date was $1.27 million. So you can find some really phenomenal big homes, even looking out on this lake with some really nice views, because again, it's not a neighborhood where everything is just tucked in the forest. Although there are a lot of homes that are kind of tucked in the forest, there are a lot of homes that have some really nice views as well, as you'll see in the footage that we're showing you of Forrest Lakes. Now, the other thing I want to mention is something that a lot of people don't realize or don't think about when they're looking for a home in this kind of forested area, especially if you're moving from somewhere like Oklahoma or Texas, is that a lot of homes will maybe not get enough sunlight in the home. And it's hard to tell that when you walk in the first time. You might not realize that all the lights are on, maybe the sun is up that day, maybe the sun is shining in the home the right way that day. But just be really cognizant of looking at the light, maybe even looking at the home a couple different times, and just being really aware of that. I've had clients sell their home, move to a different area that got a lot better sunlight because of that exact issue and reason. So want to just kind of give you a heads up for this subdivision specifically of things to kind of look out for. The other thing is, I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, we would live in Forrest Lakes if the home isn't too close to other homes. We really want some separation. Keep in mind, this subdivision is going to be good for that. Now, I'm not going to say there's not a ton of, it's going to be maybe 50-50. There's going to be some homes that are really close to other homes, and there's going to be some other sections of Forrest Lakes where other homes are more spread out, and you're going to have bigger lots. I just showed a home the other day that had a much bigger lot. It was over or right about 1/3 of an acre, and you could see homes around you, but you could barely see any homes from the back deck or from inside the home. Now, I always want to address traffic or just noise in general. From Forrest Lakes, there's very few homes, although there are a few, there's very few homes where you can hear much traffic from the road. So I will say, if you're looking on the map and you're looking at Forrest Lakes and you're looking maybe at a specific property on Realtor or Zillow.com, you will be seeing those homes that are a little bit closer to the road. The big thing I always want to say is just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to go shoot a video of the home, give you an idea of if you can hear the road. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to from, let's call it 90% of the homes in here, but there are going to be a few that you can. I want to say that compared to a lot of other neighborhoods, there are some other neighborhoods out there where they're just right on the highway. They're just right on the road, or the whole neighborhood is really close. So if this neighborhood doesn't work for you, just know that you should keep that in mind for other neighborhoods that you're seeing in the future. Just be really cognizant that some of their neighborhoods are really close to roads and you can really hear some noise. A good example, without going onto a tangent too much, is going to be the Animas Valley over in Durango, Colorado. There's also a lot of neighborhoods right off of Highway 160 on your way here, on your way to Bayfield, as well as going west of town, west of Durango. Then there are some neighborhoods, not as many. There's a development coming in to Bayfield right now. That's going to be a lot of townhomes that are right off the highway as well. So again, just be cognizant of that. Reach out, happy to shoot a video of the exact area of the exact home for you. Now, when I was talking about distance to things, I forgot to mention the distance to skiing. So we've got 55 minutes to Purgatory Ski Resort, and then you've got about an hour 24 to Wolf Creek. So compared to Durango, you are a lot closer to Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek is a phenomenal area to go skiing. Now, keep in mind, you can definitely ski in the neighborhood here. You could cross-country ski around the lake right here, and there's some great areas, great trails close by where you can go cross-country skiing. Another area that my dad and I love to cross-country ski is at Vallecito Lake. We'll put up on the screen the distance to Vallecito Lake, and that area is absolutely incredible. Now let's talk about other things to do outdoors. It's going to be fishing and water access. So you're under 20 minutes to Vallecito Reservoir. We'll put up on the screen the distance to that again. You're 20 minutes, approximately 20 minutes to Lemon Reservoir. And then we'll put up on the screen the distance to the Los Pinos River, also known as the Pine River. Like I mentioned, that is going right through Eagle Park. And there's a few other spots where you can access that. And I really love the access to the river because what I see is there's a little parking lot, little spot for families to use the river. And it's just kind of this small little river, especially really in the summer and spring. And they'll bring out their tubes and the kids will use the tubes on this river. And it's just right in town, kind of on your way to Durango, right off of the highway. And that is just a cool amenity. You don't really have access to a little river, little creek like that in Durango. When it just comes down to comparing Bayfield to Durango, that's going to be another check mark, another plus on the Bayfield side. Now, I want to mention, while we're talking about just pros and cons of Bayfield versus Durango, make sure to check out several videos I've done comparing Bayfield to Durango, or one video comparing Bayfield to Durango, and then one video talking about pros and cons of Bayfield specifically. We'll put those thumbnails up here on the screen right now, so you can check those out later. All right, now, like I mentioned earlier, I asked a good friend of mine what he thinks about living here. He's lived here for, I want to say 3 or 4 years now, and he sent me a long text about all the pros and cons of living here, and I'm just going to give you his take on living here. Now, for a little bit of context, he is a photographer. His wife works in Durango, so they do make the commute a lot to Durango. So you can kind of get a feel for his take on that commute, living this far from Durango, just if he likes it or not, regrets it, and we're gonna dive into that. So he said not many cons aside from it snows a ton in the winter and it's like 25 minutes to Durango. All of the mailboxes are in one spot down near the main entrance, and you have to haul your trash to the other side of Highway 501, or County Road 501 rather, to dump it, but it's not a big deal really. So keep that in mind. They don't just come right by your house and pick up your trash. Pros, road maintenance is pretty good. Neighbors are great. If you live higher up, you're a little more spread out and not right next to your neighbors. So higher up meaning higher elevation, Like I mentioned earlier, keep in mind that does mean you get more snow. So again, I always recommend at least getting a snowblower, but if you're getting a house with a longer driveway, either getting a plow on the end of your truck or getting an ATV with a plow so that you can plow that driveway. So just comment from myself here. He said there's a neighborhood Facebook group that's really nice, and if I ever have problems or questions, I post it there, and in 5 minutes I either have someone coming over or I have an answer. He said my wife and I have said many times that if we move, we want to stay in the neighborhood because we love it here so much. So I hope that really helps shed light on how much they like living here. I think that sense of community is really big for them, and really big thing they've noticed here in Forrest Lakes. They mentioned lots of kids in the neighborhood too, hiking trails that have killer views, and I know the lake has fish, but I haven't fished it yet. He said for reference, Florida is faster by about 5 minutes to get to downtown. Now we'll put that on the screen, that road, so that you can get an understanding of where that's at. So there are 2 different roads to get to downtown Durango, which really help. I will expound on that a little bit, but I'll finish saying what he sent to me. He said just depends on where you want to end up really. And yeah, dirt roads. They do a good job at grading it every so often to take out the washboards, and they've always done great plowing in the winter. Said you'll have a berm at the end of your driveway to dig out, but it's not that bad. And then we've got this trail right around the lake. I asked him about the lake that we're standing right in front of, and this is roughly a half mile around this lake right here. So if you like hiking, if you like going for walks, this is a really pretty lake to go for a walk around. Obviously right now it's pretty cloudy. We're going to get some snow tomorrow, or they're saying we're going to. And then I wanted to mention just how kid-friendly this neighborhood is as well. So we've got basketball courts, we've got several different playgrounds throughout. Can't really see. Right behind me is a really nice playground. We'll show you some footage of that as well. That's closer up. And then there are several other playgrounds around the entire neighborhood. That's what I really love about this neighborhood. And then you're not far from the schools. We'll show you the distance to some of the schools on the screen as well right now, so that you really hopefully you get a really good understanding of distance and proximity to a lot of different things, from grocery store to schools to Durango, of course. And then keep in mind, you are closer to places like Pagosa, like the Pagosa Hot Springs. We'll put that up on the screen right now as well. Obviously, they're not super close, but it is a really phenomenal amenity. And then you're not super far from, I want to say under 45 minutes, we'll put it on the screen, to Durango Hot Springs. They just did over a $10 million renovation on the Durango Hot Springs, so that's a really cool amenity as well. Obviously, again, I know you're not really close to that, but what you are close to is the fishing. Great fishing access here in Bayfield, from Vyceta Lake to Lemon Reservoir to the Pine River, running right through Bayfield as well. Then another reason a lot of our friends love living in Bayfield is just there's a lot of great community events. So they've got a great parade that comes through Bayfield. They've just got a lot of great events that they put on for families. They have a great fair. They have a great like market that they put out, fresh produce, and they've got local ranchers, fresh beef that's there, local honey, a lot of different things there at the market that are really good, that we really enjoy visiting as well. Now, I personally love fishing. I love fly fishing, as well as using lakes, paddleboarding, and swimming. So I want to go over the rules for this lake, because maybe some of these rules are a deal breaker for you, or it's just also just really good to be aware of. So guests must be with a resident of Forrest Lakes. So if you bring a guest, you got to be with them. Let's see, no gas motors, no swimming, no motorized vehicles. Let me take that back. There's certain areas where we're standing right here, no motorized vehicles in this area. But I'm going to go on a short tangent and just say right behind me, where you see my car, there is a little parking lot right here. And then there's a bathroom right there as well. Then down behind us here, there's another entrance, another spot where you can park, where the playgrounds are, and kind of walk up that hill. So this is obviously a better spot if you want to park and come down here. And then there are some picnic tables as well. You'll see right behind me, right over here. The other rules here are going to be no swimming, unfortunately. And then, let's see, 2 fish per person per day. So unfortunately, the only negative here, in my opinion, is going to be no swimming. But the other rules are pretty awesome, or the other things you're allowed to do are pretty awesome. So you can be in the water still. You can kayak, you can paddleboard and use the water, just no motorized boats. And then, like I mentioned, right here is a little outhouse, a little bathroom right here. And the views from this lake, as I was, obviously talking for most of the video from the lake, are absolutely phenomenal, really breathtaking. There are a few homes that are right on the lake. As you can imagine, those are rarely going to come on the market, but if that's something of interest to you, to having a home really close to the lake, I'd say there's maybe 10 or so homes really close to the lake within walking distance. Let me know. Happy to reach out to those owners, do a little digging, see if we can find you a property that's right on the water as well. And with that in mind, there are several other neighborhoods, several other areas with homes right on the water, especially if your budget is much higher. There are some homes that are riverfront. We'll actually put the thumbnail to the video we did on riverfront homes right up here that are in this Bayfield area as well. That was a really fun video to make. There are some stunning homes right on the river or with private access to the river that aren't far from this area. They're actually just around the corner from Forrest Lakes here. So check that video out later as well. All right, now I actually wanted to walk down here and show you this little playground area here. The lake is right behind us. I was standing right up there a minute ago, and you've got quite a few nice little options down here. So you've got some swing sets right here, got the playground right there, and then you've got a little half-court basketball court behind me, and you've got that wall for racquetball, I guess not racquetball, handball I guess it would be, right there. Little covered picnic bench area right behind us, and then there is a porta potty right here as well. Figured I'd just walk down here and kind of show you that. And then right on the other side of these swings, the swing set right here, is their community center. So you can rent that out when you have family events, when you have stuff going on, you can actually rent that out. And there is parking right over there as well. There is parking right here for this playground as well. So there's a playground right here, and then you can walk right up that little trail up to the lake, or you can go up there and park as well. A lot of cool options here as far as just things for kids to do, like I was mentioning. On the other side of us, you can see these homes right behind me. So there are a bunch of homes within walking access to these amenities for kids, as well as within walking access to the lake. All right, now I've got pulled up on my phone the Forrest Lakes Metro District rates, fees, charges for water, sewer, road, trash services, etc. So I'm not gonna go over every single number on here. I don't wanna bore you, but I'm gonna go over some of the main ones and then reach out to me. We'll throw my number at the bottom of the screen. Reach out if you'd like me to send you this document as well. So I wanna just kind of go over this because it is different than a lot of neighborhoods in that there's a certain charge for water. So for 0 to 3,000 gallons, for a full-time, somebody that's here for 6 months or more is going to be $45. And actually that is per month. So $45 per month you are paying for water. And then coming down to part-time, it's going to be $36 a month if you're part-time, less than 6 months. And then coming down here to, let's see, sewer, in district is going to be $46. Part-time is going to be $36 per month for sewer. All right, coming down to trash. Trash, if you're full-time, is $14.50. Part-time is going to be $6.25 per month. There are some other fees on here, but let me know if you want this document. I can send you this whole thing, and it breaks it down, past using 3,000 gallons. It tells you what additionally it's going to be, and it kind of goes on from there. But I just want to make sure that you're aware that that's a little bit different than other areas, and then at least you have some detailed numbers as well, so you can kind of factor that in to your budget as well. Guys, if you're even thinking about moving to Bayfield, Durango, Southwest Colorado in general, give me a call, text, email. I'd love to help you with any of your real estate needs here. Really hope that you found this video helpful. Guys, leave a like, leave a comment. I'd love to hear if this was helpful or other neighborhoods you would like me to cover. Looking forward to connecting with you guys soon. We'll see ya.